Okay.
8
Good morning.
a.m. I'd like to welcome everyone to Conscious Coffee. This has really become one of my favorite events. I like to get up early, but this gives me another reason to get up early. I'm Ebony Adams Monk, for those who don't know me, president of Conscious Capitalism of Central Maryland, and I'm glad that you all are here. So I would invite you to just say good morning in the chat. Introduce yourself by saying good morning. If we were in the room, I'd say get up and walk around and go shake someone's hand and say a good word, right? But we're in the chat, so just say good morning, introduce yourself. We're going to go ahead and get started with this morning's Conscious Coffee. And for those of you who are new to us, I just want to welcome you, whether you're in the space with us now or watching on the replay. Conscious Capitalism of Central Maryland is a purpose-driven business community. We promote the power of capitalism to do good, to promote change and elevate humanity. Our principles: higher purpose, stakeholder orientation, conscious leadership, and conscious culture. And we inspire and assist individuals and organizations to embrace and implement these conscious business principles. So Conscious Coffee, this is, I don't know, I lose count of the number, but it is one of a series of events that we have to actually do what we say we do in our mission, which is to educate and help people understand these conscious capitalism principles. And today's topic is a very exciting one, the topic of sustainability management. And I'm looking forward to our special guests giving some information about sustainability and the business case for sustainability and the impact on business performance, differentiation, and even fostering innovation. So I want to start my thank yous with thank you to our special guest, Dr. Hung Bing Ding, Chair of the Department of Management and International Business at Loyola Sellinger School of Business. So thank you for being here this morning. And I also would like to do a quick thank you to our sponsors, quick but deep thank you to our sponsors, Indigo Inc., Insight 180, Brand Consulting and Design, and Arthur Stein Financial. Thank you all. And also special thanks to our moderator, Wendy Baird from Insight 180 this morning. And I just want to mention, and I think Tanya and others may mention this later, that this is also an opportunity to give back. As part of our culture of giving back, we would like to encourage you to donate to a nonprofit, whether it's one that we have selected for our events or even another of your choice. And today, please feel free to donate to Columbia Community Care or Conscious Capitalism of Central Maryland, our organization. So with that, welcome everyone again. Settle back into your chairs, get some tea, get some coffee, get comfortable. And I'm going to turn this over to Tanya Rapaz.
Thanks, Ebony. As Ebony said, I'm Tanya Rapaz. I'm a certified financial planner with Arthur Stein Financial, and I'm also on the membership committee for Conscious Capitalism of Central Maryland. And I'd like to talk to you a little bit about becoming a member of Conscious Capitalism. We do a lot of great activities, these coffees, and we're actually alternating coffees and cocktails depending on your preference. But no matter whether it's a coffee in your hand or a cocktail, we're always diving into very important topics. If you become a member of Conscious Capitalism, you'll be able to participate in all of these events either for free or at a discounted rate. You'll get a listing on our website with the other businesses that have chosen to go into this arena of conscious capitalism. You'll be able to network with other businesses that are doing this kind of work. We have workshops, we're putting on events. Stay tuned for all the great things we have in 2021. We're looking forward to doing Ignite and a lot of other great activities. we're running a membership special. I don't know, we're trying this out. It's kind of like a flash sale for membership. If you become a member of Conscious Capitalism of Central Maryland within the next 24 hours after this coffee ends, Arthur Stein Financial is sponsoring a book deal. So if you become a member today, we will send you a book, either Conscious Capitalism, or if you already have that, Scaling Leadership, so that you can continue on your journey or take a deep dive into conscious capitalism. I'm going to throw the link in the chat so that you can take a look in there. We also have started, whether you are a small business or a large business, I think you'll get a lot out of membership. So, and if you have any questions about it, please don't hesitate to contact me. I'll also throw my email in the chat, so you can, if you have any questions about membership, let me know. And it is also my distinct pleasure to introduce our speaker today. I've got to know him very well over the past year. Dr. Hongbin Din is the Associate Professor of Entrepreneurship and Strategic Management at Loyola. He's also the chair of this brand new department, the Department of Management and International Business at Selinger School of Business and Management. He received his PhD in management at Rensselaer Polytechnic Institute. He does a lot of research in the areas of family business, family office, entrepreneurship, and corporate social responsibility. So I think you can see where we're going here. His recent research projects focus on family offices. He's also been a consultant to startups, business incubation, and acceleration services. He's taught strategic management, corporate strategy. He's taught courses both in the US as well as China and Taiwan. He's published and presented more than 50 articles in journals and conferences. He is also my classmate in leadership, Howard County, 2020, and he was also, we worked very closely together on a project. So I'm very glad that he is here, and I'll let him tell the rest of his story.
Thank you, Tanya. So,
thank you. Yeah, Hongbin, I'll start by asking you some questions.
Okay. Yeah.
So we are very, very happy to have you here, and really just to kind of put a framework around today. Give us your definition of sustainability, or why now is it important? Like, can we just put a definition around it? What is sustainable management or sustainable business, and why is it so important now?
Okay, so so sustainability as a term or as a way of seeing business, managing business, has always important, at least for the people of our generation. If we ask our grandparents, they probably say, but for us, it's like water and air, right? So it's already here. Our generation, we grow up in it, we grow up with it. So so to us, there's very little argument about why it is important, why do we care? Because we are part of it. We are this generation. Now, but what exactly is sustainability or sustainability management? So again, that tapping to the sort of modern generation definition, I would say it's basically really just triple bottom lines, and the people, planet, and profit. All three things work together. Sure, different people have different ways of conceptualizing these three bottom lines, but basically is the natural environment, the social environment, and the business environment. We are talking about business organizations, we are talking about for-profit organizations, and all three of them need to work together. Otherwise, without any of the three pieces, things start to fall apart.
So I noticed on the website for Loyola, I mean, we're talking about big, huge global problems like climate change and, and how business can have an impact. So I guess what's the most important idea or concept that you're hoping that your students who are enrolled in this course will come away with?
Well, so the key thing we really would like our students to do with a sustainability management degree is to build bridges. There are already a lot of bridges around, but the bridges are either too narrow or too fragile and not stable enough. What I mean is, well, we started, I guess, everyone here today are here because we care about sustainability, because we believe that conscious capitalism is our future and is what defines us. Um, However, the big challenge between business world and a overall promising future is that the business world logic, the business world framework, the thinking, the tools of the business operations, a lot of times are created and built, developed by our grandparents' generation. And it's not like, I'm not saying our grandparents are bad people or unconscious people. What I'm saying is because in their time, when the old yet powerful tools were developed, these tools doesn't really, they are powerful for their time, and they're powerful and useful for their purpose. But these tools, to make them powerful and useful, they probably take some necessary trimming down, meaning that they trim out a few other things. Back in the old days, they consider, well, they are probably less relevant. They are probably less important. And now those less important things in our time become, oh, wow, stakeholder, for example. People here, we all know the importance of stakeholders. We all understand stakeholders can give us a lot of pressures and drive the changes of our businesses. Now, only 40 years ago, if you talk about stakeholders, people will shoot back and say, what stakeholders? We only care about shareholders, right? So for our generations and for the young students who are going to take care of our future, and we will share the world with them for a certain period of time, we want them to be able to see that gap. Once you see the gap, you can start to build bridges to cross to the other side. And then eventually, just hopefully, by making business better, then you can make the world better.
So, Hung Bin, this past year, of course, we've all been dealing with one of the biggest challenges that some may have seen it coming and some may have not seen COVID coming. But I mean, this is a lot of people are talking about sustainability in terms of this past year and what has had to shift. And we're reading words like risk management and true resilience. What have you seen businesses doing that will positively impact the way we're looking at sustainability and managing through that through a crisis like COVID?
Okay, well, that's a very good question, and it is really a surprise that our discussion, well, in the school about sustainability and my research family business sort of collide in a strange way because of COVID-19. So allow me to sort of step away from sustainability for a minute, or at least the traditional stance of sustainability for a minute. Let's look at family business. Some of the probably, if you look at it, the most sustainable business in terms of longevities around the world they are family businesses. The oldest business, if you're talking about business older than 500 years old, those are family business. There are businesses, only handful of them, that has been continuing operating under the same family's control for more than 1,000 years. So they are business like that. You cannot get more sustainable than that in terms of business sustainability. Okay, so those businesses almost always have one thing in common. Those businesses enjoy that with really long longevity and then family legacy. They have one thing in common. They really do a very good job planning ahead. They have a system, they have their ways, they have their core values, they they groom their successors very well, and when they need to be flexible, when they need to cut ties with unfit heirs, they do that. So by doing that, they are able to keep their business in the family for a very long time. And also, one important thing is they also know how to say when and how to say no. because growth and business opportunity and profit, those are very tempting, right? A lot of people say, well, I love money. We are in business because in some way we don't consider money making activity as a dirty activity. So that's why we are in business. Now, when we are in business, and then some people say, going to offer you, I'm going to work with you and give you opportunity to earn double the income, triple the income, or double the profit. That's always very tempting. And yet, a lot of these are very long, old family businesses. They say, no, no, we are not going to do that. We are going to do things our way. So if you look at those really old family businesses, and in fact, in Maryland, we have some oldest family businesses in the United States as well. Some of them dated back to before the Civil War, and they are not the largest businesses in Maryland.
Huh.
Now, how is that relevant to our thinking of sustainability and risk management? So risk, when it happened, or disasters, when they happen, they are going to be disastrous. That's for sure, that they are going to be disruptive, right? Otherwise, they would not be called a disaster, or they would not be called a risk. And yet, if we just deal with the risk, deal with the disaster, deal with major incident as it happened, then we will be caught by surprise, like the majority of businesses are doing this year with COVID-19. And that's the problem. We are all business people, professionals, right? We can deal with a certain level of environmental fluctuation. We can deal with some certain level of unexpected future uncertainties, but we cannot predict the future. And sure, some of my finance friends or like modeling friends, they would like to say, "Oh, what's the odds of having big disasters happen down the road?" Well, again, back in our grandparents' generation, maybe not that often. I don't know. I'm not my grandparents' generation, but it seems that in the good old days, according to my grandparents and my parents, they would say, "Oh, good old days, everything seems to be nicer and stable." But looking at if you are 35, if you know any 35 years old, and I know we have audiences younger than 35 here, but if you know any 35 years old, think about their life up to this point, right? So when they're 15, they have when they are 12, 13, they have Asian financial crisis. So that's a dip of market there. Okay, and then you have 2001 September 11 attack, and then you have 2008, so the financial system meltdown. And if this person decided, okay, I've had enough of the Western world, I want to move to Japan. Guess what? In 5 years, 2013, you have this tsunami and the nuclear power plant meltdown there, and then you got scared. You want to move away from just Japan. You want to go to China or to US, two of the largest, most stable powerful economies in the world. And in about 7 years, you have COVID-19. Okay, so in about 30 years time, we've seen enough shares of these so-called disasters or major risk events. And I think that's enough. That's enough motivation for businesses, even small businesses, to think about how do we want to manage our risk. Now, I know I took a long route to come back to the question itself. How about sustainability? Just like the legacy, long-lasting family businesses plan for their successors, just like the reality we know that we are going to face more major global events down the road, and probably more in a more frequent way, like it or not. We need to seriously think about next time when something like this happens, how do we continue to stay sustainable? How do we continue to maintain and be true to what we are doing? A very quick question, simple question is, well, so if here we rely on green suppliers out of China or Southeast Asia, when the flights are stopped because or suspended because of COVID-19, what do we do? Is there a way for us to manufacture our products? Is there a backup plan? And if you never ever think about a backup plan, then it will be extremely difficult when the crisis hits to start thinking about backup plan. And to sort of to conclude this part of my answer, I would like to offer a short story, maybe old story. So IKEA, we know this business, Swedish, pretty much a business representative of Swedish businesses. Some people will say it's Volvo, but Volvo is not really Swedish anymore. But so IKEA, when IKEA started, the founders of IKEA, he had trouble. The trouble is he was not able to find suppliers of his furniture. And why is IKEA's product always self-assemble, right? Sometimes it's annoying. Why do I have to assemble everything? Well, there's a reason, because when he started, nobody wants to supply him due to some sort of cartel agreement. And he's not part of a cartel. He wants to go below the going price of the furnitures to penetrate the post-World War II young family baby boom market. And because he's going under the price, so nobody from the cartel is allowed to supply him with the product. So what he did was he found alternatives. So here is the connection with your question earlier. He found what the alternative is. He leave a country. He went to another country. He went to Poland, actually. He went to Poland and find other wood product manufacturers, not furnitures. They don't make furnitures. They make wooden boxes. So if you like old Coca-Cola, if you remember those old Coca-Cola boxes, the boxes that contain a wooden box that contains the classic bottles, they make those boxes. And
those crates.
Yeah, he taught those
right.
Box manufacturers to use the material and convert them to simple furnitures. And that's how he started a business. So even as a small business owner, if you own a big business, you certainly will be in a more powerful position to influence your suppliers and to have backup plans, like Apple, for example. But if you're a smaller business, it's always, given what we are facing nowadays, given the reality with possible disasters, setbacks, etc. down the road, it might also be a good idea to factor in future risk events and in your overall planning moving ahead. And with those plans, then you will be more ready to embrace the future disruptions when it happens.
That's a great story. And, who doesn't have one of those, or 5 or 20 of those little Allen wrenches that come with all of the IKEA furniture? That's great. So there's some questions that some folks have written in the chat. What should small businesses focus on right now to sustain and survive this pandemic and to be stable enough to come out stronger? That's a big question. But
it is a very good and very big question, and it is a huge challenge. So it really depends on, well, first of all, I would say, I really hate to say depends, but a lot of the times that's really where the answer is, because when the business person say it depends, it almost sounds like, oh, you are being irresponsible, giving no answer. But what I mean by depends is it really depends on your cash position. So if you are in a strong cash position, they are more forward thinking, forward planning, and collaboration you will be able to do. So if you and yet if your cash position is sort of challenging, then the priority maybe is just to try to stay alive and stay in business. So I guess that's the first priority. And with the economy sort of reopening, and now of course the governor is saying, well, the case is going up. I know it's really a tough situation, but for small businesses, I would still say, well, cash is probably, if not king, the queen of your business. Then you still have to make your decision based on where your cash, how long your cash will last. Now, so now if the business is indeed in a sort, I want to say, well, your cash position is not in a situation that you really cannot do anything else but to maintain healthy cash flow and stay alive, meaning that your cash position will allow you to do give you some challenges, but you can still do something else for future. If that's the situation, I would say it may be time to start working with new partners to think about what are the ways to help you maintain your business and to maintain what you want to do to be true to what your business is about, in the same time trying to come up with new ways of delivering it. So
Like
this
new,
time,
like
because
potentially partnerships, partnering
yes,
with people you
yes,
normally wouldn't partner with.
right,
Yeah.
right. Because at this time, everyone is going out to find new partners. You are not the only business in the world that face this challenge. Everybody else, others are too. And this Zoom meeting thing, I think in some cases, in many cases, this is a blessing in disguise. I know we are all Zoom fatigued. I know, in a thing
Totally.
like this, we should go out, right? But it also, in the same time, really allow us. It really sort of in a subtle way. Well, maybe less not so subtle, but change the expected business practices. So
Yeah.
in the past, for example, I'm going to, talking about my research, I research family office, and family office people usually hide behind layers of bodyguards and gatekeepers. They don't let you in that easily, right?
Yeah.
And only 2 years ago, I have to fly to Hong Kong, I have to fly to Taiwan, China, to interview some of the family offices over there, single family offices over there. But now I don't have to, because Zoom, nobody want to go out. Even if I
Nobody
fly to
can
Hong
travel,
Kong,
so
nobody
you're
can
doing
see
this
me,
from your
right?
living room. I love that. That's true.
Yes. Yeah, so use this. So the world has changed. And Zoom fatigue, yes, everybody is sick and tired of sitting, but in the same time, people also start to embrace the idea of, well, that's probably a new normal. And it feels
Mhm.
normal already. No matter, I know there are still people out there saying, I'm old-fashioned, we have to be face-to-face. To some extent, I'm old-fashioned too, because I love seeing my students in classroom rather than
Sure.
like this. However, since the reality is changing, the
Yeah.
world is changing, and the partners, there are many businesses just like yours, trying to find partners to survive and be more ready for future. This actually, this Zoom or online environment may be just a great way to start working on this.
Yeah. Sometimes even some new opportunities.
Yes.
Yeah, I see it too. There's blessings in disguise. Some days we have to be reminded of it more than others, I think. But there was another
I was
question.
going to say, yeah, that's what I was going to say. There was another question in
Yeah.
the chat.
Thank you,
And
Tanya.
this is via Ebony. Hangbin, what are the biggest challenges to creating a sustainable business?
Oh, wow.
And how
So
can businesses overcome those challenges?
overcome the challenges.
Another little question.
Okay, so I think the big business and small business are slightly different. The big business is to find, well, but the big business is to find a buy-in. The buy-ins of the stakeholders. I'm not, when I say stakeholders, I do mean everyone, right? Everyone involved. And you get questions from left and right. Why are we doing this? Why do we care? And how do we answer to our shareholders, etc. And this getting buy-ins was much more difficult 10 years ago, definitely 20 years ago. But in the last 5 years, the world really has changed very quickly. Not exactly COVID related, but in the last 5 years, if we look at SP 500 organizations, almost all of them, I take the almost back. I think all of them have a statement about either sustainability, or corporate social responsibility. They all want to say, and in a serious way, not just marketing tools or their services say we care. They actually say, well, these are the things we want to do, and we want to contribute, and we are serious about this. So at some level, for huge, large organizations, the buy-ins in the last 5 years, the buy-ins are easier to get. Now the challenge, well, I acknowledge the fact that some business may continue to have difficulty getting stakeholders buy-in. However, I would say majority of the large organizations probably are at a different level. The different level has different kind of challenges as well. This challenge will be, so what's the priority? Is it labor condition? Is it environment? Is it community? Is it corporate governance? Is it what's there? What's the priority? And for huge organizations, getting the priorities set and agree upon and stay for a long period of time, committed for a long period of time, that's not easy. That's very challenging. And now sometimes we thought, oh, well, so with better understanding of what's going on out there, better understanding about the environment, maybe, just maybe, it would be easier for people to agree upon. Not true. Not true. The old office politics still alive and strong.
Yeah.
So,
I was going to say, so if you've seen so much more of this in the last 5 to 10 years, what do you attribute that to? Is it new generations of business folks coming up? Is it, what do you think?
I think there are a lot of factors, but let me, before I answer that question, let me finish the 30% of Tanya's question. So there's the challenge for the smaller business to engage in sustainability. I think to do that, you really need to find a market. I know I sound like a heartless, old-fashioned business person, but what I mean is for the smaller businesses, if you embrace sustainability, well, because you are smaller, so the entrepreneur, the business owner, the founder, you already know what you want to do. But the thing is, knowing what you want to do is not the same thing as you will be able to survive.
Right.
It's not like a case of us big businesses. Big businesses, they survived, right? So now their challenge is to convince everyone in their organization or outside of the organization that we are changing the way we survive, and we are going to show you this is going to work. But for smaller businesses, unless you are the more established small business, otherwise the smaller business, their challenge is always, let's find a market first. And you want to stay true to who you are, what you want to do, what you care about. That's great, but you still need to find a market. So it's the continuous challenge to maintain a balance between the market demand and what do you want to do. I'm not saying there is a trade-off. I'm saying it takes creativity. Now, going back to Wendy, your question, so why do we even, it's sort of why do we even care about this right now? Or why is this the right time? Or why all the stars seems to align at this point? And the star does seems to align at this point. So I think here, all of us here sort of remember there was some sort of environmental management push or wave in the 90s. And that some of us may even remember there were other wave of push maybe in the 80s, and the EPA, the creation of EPA, that sort of thing, pretty much represent the first wave ever in a major way in this country, right? But why things didn't work back then all of a sudden start to work? Well, many reasons. One, people change. So our grandparents' generation, our parents' generation, our generation, our children's generation, they are seeing different things. And all these years of education, all these years of seeing what is happening in the society, and the old-fashioned solutions, or I shouldn't say old-fashioned solutions, but previous solutions, older solutions, doesn't really solve problems, and they create new problems. or less effective. And then there are technologies happening. So the consumers and the workforce are changing. It's very natural. 30 years ago, a business school student, a college student have to be told that, oh, those kind of things have consequences and etc. Students today, they don't have to be told. They know. It's very natural that they see the problem. Just like internet. Um, I grew up in a time when internet was not available. What is that, right? So connecting with each other like this, those are like sci-fi movie. But today, my son, a high schooler, he is doing all this internet stuff, doing the coding and etc., and he's playing games online. So although it's taking probably longer than a lot of people hope it will be, but the workforce, as long as the consumer, meaning the market,
Yeah.
are changing. And then there are two other important aspects. One is technology. A lot of technologies that were not available only 10 years ago now become very available. And a lot of and a part of sort of independent from the overall fancy technology development, even the manufacturing technology become more environmentally friendly, society friendly. I think some of us still have the impression that when Apple makes iPhone, they have like huge factories, and then people work like ants, labor ants in the factory assembly line. But that's really more an exception. Most of factories in China nowadays, they are fairly automated. They use robots. Not the robots with arms, but the whole assembly line platform is highly automated, and because the labor cost in China has spiked in recent years. So a lot of things are happening, and the last element is the knowledge base, the skills, and that's what we are doing in university. We have also picked up as well, because for us to teach students something, we have to have science. And the science, unfortunately, accumulation of scientific knowledge takes time. 40 years ago, they are really not that much. There are some random observations, policy advocacies, policy papers, lawyers, congressmen politicians arguing back and forth, but not much science around to help managers. And even only 10 years ago, there was some science, but really not enough to teach students. And today, I think we are in a much better position. At least one of my colleagues is in the process of developing probably the second textbook in sustainability management in English. So when you accumulate enough science, then you will be able to publish a textbook and to systematically teach students. And we see from the disciplinary development's point of view, we've seen this happen to e-commerce, to international business, to entrepreneurship. And if you want to go further back, we see that same development in marketing as well. Marketing, 100 years ago, marketing is barely a discipline, right? But today, marketing certainly is a very strong discipline, or something, a very important subject to learn. And a subset of marketing, social media. Where was social media before 2005?
Well, that was one of my questions too, was I think some of the bigger companies are maybe a decade ago being forced to look at their production chain more closely because there's more exposition. People can share information about somebody's brand or about, how they're sourcing their materials or whatever else. And I think that's a huge piece of where technology comes to play. There was another question here for you, Hongbin. What's the most impressive case study involving sustainability? Like what's one that you share with your students, or maybe a jaw dropper or something?
Okay, so I was thinking about this question, and I was before today's event, I actually look up this company I visited a few years back. I was really only a tag along. So I shared a link, their Amazon link on the chat box. So, well, you don't have to buy their products. I actually, I should, but I really like the product, but I never use them because in my house, my wife made the shampoo purchase decision, not me. All right. So the story about this All Right shampoo manufacturer is fascinating. Why? So the story was the founder. He doesn't have a fancy degree. He started his professional career really as a stylist, and he's not a Vidal Sassoon like high profile
Right.
stylist. No, he said he is really just a person as a apprentice. He started as apprentice. In a hair salon and just washing his clients' hairs. That's all. That's what he does.
Yeah.
Right. But he quickly realized that he cannot stay in this business for long. Although this was the only thing he knew what to do. Uh, and the reason he couldn't stay in this for long was because that his skin were really allergic to the chemicals from shampoo. And if it's just a little bit, if you just wash your hair once a day, that's fine. But he has to dip his the foams like 20 times at least a day, right? And then there are also extra cleaning, etc. So after 4 or 5 years, he has allergies all over him, a skin allergy, and his hands are just in a very bad condition. So he decided, no, he cannot stay in this business. And he started to work for shampoo companies to be a salesman. And in this shampoo sales business, he realized, wait a minute. So he had this problem with chemicals. They are bad for his skin, and he probably would not be the only person. Is there a natural product that he can sell to his customers and feel good about it? And he realized, well, there was. Okay, so the all natural shampoo products that is supposed to be good for your body and just for the sake of marking up the price for your spirit and soul. Okay, so you find this product and start work for that company as well, and then he also quickly realized, well, there are still problems because uh, when hair salons they purchase shampoo, they purchase like family size, huge industrial size, huge bottles, right? Just like what we do in Costco. Those packages are like huge. Um, the problem with those is that those huge bottles they last for a long time. They will stay in your bathroom for about 3 months, 4 months, or even longer. And even in a hair salon, they stay the huge size industrial bottle or container. They will stay there for about months usually. Now you can try as much as you want to put all natural ingredients into the shampoo concoction. Yet, as long as the bottle is made of plastic, the polyester chemicals still find its way into the shampoo over time. So it's not like the businesses are evil. They actually do. Those shampoo manufacturers he worked for actually do try to keep their promises. It's just that their containers didn't serve the purpose. So with his savings over the years, he decided to start a business by working with a local college to develop a biodegradable bottle for shampoo. So the content of shampoo itself really is not a huge secret. Many people, even students, can do that with the right kind of recipe. Probably high schoolers can create those in their high school chemistry lab. So that's not secret. But what he's trying to do is to create a bottle that will not contaminate the all natural ingredients or the all natural concoction of the shampoo. That's all right. So that's his business. And by the time I interviewed him, that was 2015. So that was 5 years ago. And he was in business for about 7 or 8 years. And business was thriving. And so I just asked a blunt question. I said, so that's it? Just a bottle? Of course, I phrased it nicely. Um, but he said, no, 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 of course not. Because once they started with the bottle, the bottle, by the way, was made out of bamboo. So and Taiwan has a lot of the business is from Taiwan actually. Taiwan
Okay.
has a lot of bamboo and it's very cheap. They just process the bamboo and make them bottle, and they last. They will not last forever, but they are good enough to last for about a year. So that's good enough. And then they realized, wait, how about the ink? Because nobody will buy an empty, no marking bottle, right? Something has to go onto the bottle to show the trademark, the logo, the ingredients, the instructions, and if there's expiration date. For complaints, customer service, please, right? So ink has to go there, and the inks are not environmental friendly. So he went further and said, okay, so can we find environmentally friendly, non-toxic ink somewhere? No one, no one is doing that. And the existing supply chain say, well, you're crazy. Who wants to do that? Well, I do. So can you help? And he found other small business suppliers, and it took some time. Finally, come up with something. So little by little, they really transform. So everything you're seeing on Amazon, from the top to bottom, from outside to inside, everything you are seeing are biodegradable and all natural. So it's not a once for all solution. Over time, obviously his story, over time, he gradually transformed his supply chain and to revolutionize the product of his. And I'm really glad to see his product showing up on Amazon, because in the old days, there was also a distribution channel issue. He was
Yeah.
only to get into the hair salon market. He was not able to get to the Amazon or the
To the
supermarket
consumer
customers.
directly.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
now they are. So
And how's he
yeah,
doing? Because what a great case study. And he just went further and further and
yeah.
further. That's wonderful. And he's
Yeah,
doing
and the
well.
silver lining of this is he's still doing well. And the silver lining of this is that although initially he received tremendous amount of pushbacks from suppliers, everybody called him crazy, right? But it turns out everybody also realized, the suppliers also realized, well, they're doable. It's not like there's no technology, you are trying to invent something to space travel. No, the relevant technologies are there. It's just that they are not being commercialized.
Right.
Then commercialization, commercial application of lab technologies invented or created by local colleges, those kind of things are not very expensive. And suppliers realize that, he realized that, and altogether, he transformed the supply chain. Now the suppliers are very happy because he enable changes, transformations to his suppliers to the extent that the suppliers now can provide the same kind of technology and service to other clients as well. So according to him, the ink, the printer now receive printing deals from really all over the world
Wow.
because of
Great.
this biodegradable, non-toxic ink they
I
created.
love that. That is such a great story. We only have a few minutes left, Hung Bin, but I loved the question that one of my fellow board members sent me in advance, thinking um, what she wants to know, what gives you hope
Oh,
in terms of this business that you're in and this sustainable management. What gives you hope? And after this year of COVID.
mhm. I think the students and people, well, people in general. So earlier in my answer, I said, well, we are offering this degree because we see the students' demand, and we see the student in the marketplace, and we see all of the things are moving to the right directions, and people do care. the problem is we are getting more and more aware of the fact that uh, there are a lot of good people out there with big heart, good heart. The problem is the bridge is just not wide enough. The bridge is just not stable enough. And the more we are able to do that, the better future we are going to see. So to me, I'm in education business, and I see this as a mission for myself and a lot of colleagues of mine to make it happen. And the old-fashioned office dynamics or issues between people, they're continue going to be there. But I would say compared to say just 20 years ago when I was a doctoral student, the environment is very, very different. It really feels like seeing the sustainability education and sustainability management today. It really feels like entrepreneurship education back to late 90s. I remember back 1999 or year 2000 when I was in RPI, we did a survey to the community. Who doesn't like entrepreneurship, right? But surprisingly, from the survey, some community leaders and say there was a question of a very casual question about do I respect entrepreneurs? And then there were pushbacks. Well, so simply because a person is an entrepreneur, I should respect him or her. That's totally not why we write a question that was really out of the blue. But it's not just us. In different parts of the world, there were pushbacks and doubts about entrepreneurship as a subject of education or something to teach. Same thing with e-commerce. RPI has a reputation of being a technical university, technology university. And even within RPI, we have debates about, well, is e-commerce a subject, something to study? Or, any professors can talk about e-commerce just a little bit, maybe 2 hours out of semester, that will be okay. So today, there were very little doubt about that anymore, right? So here I'm seeing, it's almost like deja vu seeing sustainability management today compared to only 20 years ago or less than 20 years ago, the e-commerce education, the entrepreneurship education, and also what we know about data analytics, social media. Those kinds of things are so new, but today no one can afford not to talk about this in a very intellectual way. So what gives me hope? I think we are, at least from my point of view, we are seeing all of the key elements is there. However, the bridge is still not very strong. We need to work harder. And so that's where I dedicate my efforts to try to make the bridge, try to uh, uh, educate people so that they can be better in building bridges. And when they are building bridge, they know how to build a strong, sturdy, and wide bridge.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. And that is just the perfect way to end this. And I want to thank you so much for being here. If you guys, can people reach out to you? Do you maybe LinkedIn? What's the best place to reach you if they'd like to?
I would say both LinkedIn and email is fine. LinkedIn,
Okay.
the problem with LinkedIn is that I probably check LinkedIn once a day. And email, you can always find me, but I receive too many emails. Sometimes get buried. For example, your email, our email, we exchanged several emails yesterday, and 2 of them was buried in another link. I just couldn't see it.
I know,
Yeah,
right?
so try both.
Okay.
Try both.
Okay, great. And thank you so much, Dr. Ding. We really appreciate it. And I want to turn it over quickly to Tracy Turner, who's going to tell us about next month.
Hi, you guys, you're in for a treat. Next month is Conscious Cocktails, my cheat sheets over here. It's Tuesday, December 8th from 4 to 5 p.m. It is themed Surviving 2020, Tell Us Your Story. We've almost reached the end of 2020, and we want to hear what helped you through this tremendously tumultuous time. We'll be using show and tell to share our stories. Let us know, was it a book, a friend, a pet, a community, a movement, an alcoholic beverage, a non-alcoholic beverage? Just let us know what helped you get through this time. We'll share our stories. We'll have a lively discussion. We'll also talk about a recap of the programming we've done in 2020 and show you what's ahead for 2021.
Thank you. Tanya, did you have any last final words? I want to thank the sponsors again very much. Insight 180 and Arthur Stein Financial and Indigo Ink Printing.
Yep, don't forget to become a member.
And yes, and if you become a member, Tanya's got a present for you.
Yep.
So that would be lovely. Thank you, everybody. We're, oh gosh, Kevin Howard just had a big, huge question. I'm just going to read it so you can all think about it for next time. We know that we have significant numbers of fellow members of our species who want to exploit our planet and people at all costs. Gosh, I hope that's less and less so. How do we teach them that it's unprofitable? We presume that families, churches, etc., taught them it's morally wrong. That is something to be thinking about. I'm so hopeful with Dr. Ding's last statement about, the students, the fact that they're teaching this, and now there's like middle management positions, not just the C-level folks who are thinking about this, and that it's an intentional piece of business to build in the sustainability. I love it. So I'm gonna, hopefully we leave with that and we can think more about it. And thank you all for joining us this morning.
Thank you.
Great,
Thank
great
you
to
for
see you.
Dr. Din, so good to see you. We appreciate
Thank you.
it. All right.
Thank you.
Take
Thank
care,
you.
everybody.
Thanks. Have a great day.
You too.
Bye.
So I
Have a
can-
great day.
All right.
Good to see you.